You know, the thing that sucks about getting older is, honestly, I want to say it like this. I think before high school or before college, if you're a complete failure, your parents can still cope with the whole, oh, my son, he's young, no girlfriend, no job, no friends, it's normal, he's just a kid, he'll figure it out. And honestly, like, if I had $1 for any time anyone ever told me, oh, you'll figure it out, buddy, you'll figure it out, I'd literally be rich. But then that whole you'll figure it out, once you get to this certain age, that turns into, what's going on, buddy? What's going on? You got to get your shit together, buddy. What's going on? What's going on? Come on, buddy, come on. And they just can't cope anymore. And I feel like that's what's happening to my mom. It's just absolutely absurd. I think it really did, like, happen because of my job. Like, this is what, like, especially, like, the past 2 months, guys. Like, I'll come home at 10:30 and I'm so exhausted from the day that I just walk upstairs and pass out. And on my day off, all I do is sleep. Like, I don't do anything but sleep because of how exhausted I am from the week. And my mom's always saying, come on, what's going on? Why don't you have a social life? Why haven't you met anybody yet? Why haven't you met anyone at your job? What's going on? What's going on? When I was your age, I was going out here and I was traveling the country and partying. Why aren't you doing that? What's going on? And it's just like, whatever, you know? And, you know, it's just so ridiculous. Like, even this morning, she's like, I had a dream that you met a blonde, beautiful, skinny girl, and she asked you out. Be on the lookout today. And of course, you know, nothing happened, as always, because she does it every day. It's literally a broken record. It's the same thing, too. Same line. A beautiful, blonde, skinny girl asked you out. Beautiful, blonde. But, you know, it's funny because, you know, she's always saying how looks don't matter at all, right? It's all about personality, confidence, blah, blah. But she always says blonde, skinny girl. Blonde, beautiful, skinny girl. Same thing over and over. It really makes you wonder. But, you know, that's just like one of the many ridiculous copes. I mean, she even does this thing, which I wanted to talk about. She says she has what's called God's gift or a sixth sense, where she says she can read people and, tell whether they're good people or not based on looking at them. And it's so beyond cringe. Like, once you're like, oh, you're gonna like cringe your balls off. But anyway, this happened like maybe 2 months ago. My mom works at home with a bunch of other boomers, like they're all around like 50s, 60s, and she was like, oh, come here, and she points to this one dude, you know, bald, overweight dude, same thing, like maybe mid 60s, and she goes, that's a bad man. I'd never go to him for help. That's a bad man. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. Because she doesn't even know these people yet, like at the time. And she points to this one dude, top right, full head of hair, hollowed cheeks, boomer. And she goes, but that man, he's a good man. I know he's a good man. I'm like, yep, Like, I know there's no point in arguing. There's no point in saying shit. I'm just like, I feel like a fucking zombie nowadays. Like, people say shit that's such cope that I just can't even, it just like turns my brain off, that I'm just like, like, it really is ridiculous. Like, even when I was gonna say the second thing was, but this was like in January, my mom drove me to work. It was like the weather was supposed to be really bad. It was supposed to have like a really bad storm. And this one manager that we have, he's like mid 50s, the dude, sub 5, you know, terrible negative canthal tilt, bulbous nose, little chubby, balding. And he was like taking out the garbage or doing something outside, and my mom goes, see that man? Bad man, stay away from him. And I'm thinking in my head, like, this is the funniest guy I've ever met, because this dude, he used to be an ex-comedian, stand-up comedy. It's probably what he used to do to compensate for his looks. He's just a super funny dude. He's a good dude. And my mom's telling me, he's a bad man, stay away. I'm like, you don't even, like, she's always telling me not to judge a book by its cover, yet you're doing the same shit, you know? It's just, like, so hypocritical. But yeah, like, anyway, it's just, I don't know, it's just ridiculous. But what I really wanted to talk about was, my mom made me go to an AA meeting, which I'll explain why. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to me, and I want to, like, tell you guys something really important. So first off, I mean, I guess, like, this all stemmed from pretty much 2 bad days in the past year of drinking. So I got really drunk on Christmas. I have a video on it, and my mom thought I was having, like, some mental breakdown. She didn't know I was drunk, and she took me to the hospital. I guess I was too fucking wasted. My blood alcohol levels were pretty fucking high, but basically they were like, okay, we'll just wait here a while, then you can just go home and sleep it off. Like, it's just, simple as that. And my mom's like, calling up my whole family. He's an alcoholic. And all of a sudden, my family fucking hates me now. And I'm like, great, fucking great. So yeah, that happened. And the other one, this was like almost a year ago. This was like with my friends when I got drunk with them. But that was like so fucking long ago. I think that's like the only 2 times I've ever been like drunk, if that makes sense, like that fucking drunk. But yeah, so what I really want to say is, please, for the love of God, I noticed this, like, people don't ever talk about this, but I think like the older generations, like the boomer parents, they overreact so much. Like, they make you so confused, guys. Like, please, for the love of fucking God, don't let these people confuse the shit out of you. And trust me, it's so easy to confuse sub 5 men, because most people think that everyone's supposed to live this exact same life, which technically is impossible. There's winners, there's losers, and then there's those in between. The whole world would not work if this didn't exist. And, what I was going to say was, it's pretty much, I guess, like an example of it would be, let's say you have 2 boomer parents, and let's say, you come home from school one day, you're depressed, you say, Mom, Dad, I'm depressed, and your parents, they take something so minor. They're like the fucking South Park adults, guys. Like, if you ever seen the show South Park, they just, like, the funny thing about the show is that, like, they take something so minor, and they just make it, like, such a big deal, and everyone's confused. Like, the kids are confused as fuck, and the adults, that's, like, the whole comedy of the show, but honestly, it's, like, almost reality, because, like, trust me, like, I'm sure your parents have done this before, but... So the example I was going to say, you come home from school depressed, and your parents, they start freaking out. Oh my God, get the phone, get on the phone with Dr. Cook, help our son. Oh, please help our son. And you're sitting there, you're like, what the fuck? And then they're like, okay, get in the car, sweetie, get in the car. You're sitting in the car, you're like, okay, what the hell's going on? You're confused as shit. Then, of course, the boomer doctor, oh my God, oh, it's clinical, fuck, oh, it's clinical, holy shit, get the meds. And you're still sitting there confused as shit. Like, what the hell is going on? I guess, like, an example I can use for, like, myself is, when I was 12 years old, I was sent to the psych ward, which is funny, because all the nurses, they were like, you shouldn't even be here. Like, like, why are you even here? All because I had a family therapist, which I was required to have at the time. I have a video on it. It's this whole long story, which is pretty stupid, but... I was talking to this lady, I said something she didn't like, and seriously, like, it was just like, I was having like a normal, like, conversation with this lady, and she was like basically asking me, like, oh, are you depressed, do you think about ending it? And I was like, well, of course, like, everyone, I guess, has. I wouldn't do it. I'm just very sad. Like, I said something like that. It was just so like nonchalant, and but she took it as like some fucking crazy shit. And all of a sudden she's like, okay, give me a second. Like, she gets on the phone. All of a sudden, I'm being escorted. My mom's like, oh, sweetie, you're gonna be okay. Oh. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, what the fuck? And, God, the fucking, whatever they gave me there, they gave me some pill. Like, they made me take like this one pill, like after a certain amount of days. And this is another thing, like, the douchebag judge, like the person you have to go to, wouldn't let me out of the psych ward for like another like 2 weeks for some stupid reason. Like, they're all begging to get me out of there because I was like missing school. I was like fucking, it didn't make any sense. And but yeah, whatever this pill they gave me, I literally, guys, like, I couldn't even fucking talk. I sounded like fucking Sylvester Stallone. I was like, like, I couldn't even fucking speak, and it also like hurt to think. Even when I tried Adderall, like, as of recently, like maybe like a year or two ago, it just like, it made me euphoric, but like it was like hard to like think thoughts, like, if that makes sense. And I just wanted to like lay there. Like, I don't know how to like this. It like made me like euphoric. Even when I was 18, I guess I took the same sort of thing, and it just does something to you where it just like turns your brain into a fucking egg. I don't know. I seriously don't know what it was. I just were like, here, take this. I was like, okay. But yeah, that was such a shit. All because they turned something so minor into this fucking massive thing. It's like, and I was so confused. The whole time I was so confused. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? It didn't even, I was so little, I didn't understand, and just, it's so sad, man. Like, people, they just confuse the complete shit out of you. But anyway, This was like in the beginning of April when I went to this second AA meeting, because I did go to one after that whole Christmas shit, which was so fucking stupid. I have a video on that. I don't really want to repeat that shit, but it was dumb. And basically, like, me and my mom were fighting. Because we usually like argue about stupid shit. And yeah, she was like, we're fighting about, like, it could be something as stupid as like the garbage. And she'll be like, go to AA, go to therapy, AA, therapy. Like, it won't even make sense. Like, she'll be like, you're sick, go to therapy, go to AA. Like, she'll just randomly, like, if we're like fighting over whatever it is, she'll be like, you're sick in the head, you need help, you need friends, you need people. And I'm like, okay. And then yeah, we're just arguing, and she said it. She's like, go to AA, go to therapy, go to AA. I'm like, I was like, fuck it, I'll go to AA, because I was like pissed. I'm like, fine, I'll do it. Of course it was a big mistake, but yeah, she's like, oh, I'm driving you there to make sure you go. And I was like, all right, fine. But yeah, that was like terrible. So anyway, we got there relatively early, at the church where the meeting was. And my mom, she's like, I'm gonna make sure you go in, and I'm gonna talk to somebody there. And of course I was regretting it. I'm like, why like, I'm nothing like these people. Why did I agree to do this? And we got in there, and there's this old lady and these other two old people, and she had like this hippie headband on, and she was doing like this weird hula dance. And my mom was like, do you know where the AA meeting is? And she goes, go down the stairs to the right and follow the smell of coffee. And me and my mom were like, what the fuck? Honestly, like, no wonder this lady drinks. Like, Woodstock is over. Jimi Hendrix ain't fucking coming back. Like, there's a reason why it's only old people at these things. I'll get into that later, but part of it is, like, there's this quote that I said once that people seem to like, that it's pretty simple. I mean, all old people are is just a bunch of memories. That's all old people are, is just young memories. Getting older sucks. It really does. But anyway, yeah, we go down the stairs, and we find it, and my mom's like, wait here. It was like some multi-purpose room, like these two pushable doors and a bunch of like foldable chairs. And of course there was coffee there, which was fucking weird. It was 7:30 at night. I'll get into that in a second. But she goes in there, she talks to this one Italian dad boomer with the most massive pot belly I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, he honestly looked like most people in my family. Like, all that was missing was like a fucking Coors Light and a Budweiser in one hand, and like a cigar or like a cigarette in the other. And he had a hat on. He was bald with a big beard. It's so funny, like, how when people start balding, they compensate with a hat and a beard. And it's funny too, because like, people always say all these PUAs, looks don't matter at all, it's all about game, but go to the gym and compensate this way and do this compensation. Because if anyone has a flaw, they're always trying to compensate, like, no matter what it is. Like, I'm trying to compensate right now by growing out a beard, which honestly, it looks like shit. I kind of look like a cuck. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I just don't like my beard. I'm gonna shave it soon. It didn't work out. My jaw is still shit. But yeah, this dude, my mom, I kind of overheard her talk. She was saying how, like, oh, just please help my son. Like, he's just so lost. He doesn't know what's going on. He just needs help. Can you just please talk to him? And basically my mom walked out, and she's like, okay, buddy. And I just walked in. This dude, he sat down right next to me. He put his hand on my fucking leg, which pissed me off. It brought back so many memories, not pleasant ones either. And he had like the most massive sausage fingers I've ever seen in my life. Like, this dude, I don't know what it is, like, with this type of boomer, but like, their bodies are just so unproportionate. It's like if you gave a kid a pencil and said, draw a stick figure, and they draw it and it gets all fucked up, and it's like, all unproportionate and shit. Like, this dude, like, his legs were skinny. It looks like one of those like fucked up Roblox characters too. Like, his stomach was just massive. Like, it looked like it was about to blow up. And like, his legs were skinny, his arms were skinny, but his fingers were like literal sausages, and he just put it on my leg. And I think if people do that, they know you're weak and vulnerable. But yeah, he puts his hand on my leg. He's like, I appreciate you being here, pal. God's got your back. You want a coffee? And I'm like, what again with the coffee? It's 7:30 at night, and everyone there is drinking coffee. And even, and this is the thing, like, I will never listen to people, like, because I've always been told, like, oh, coffee's so good for you, so good. And like, just recently, actually, I started drinking coffee, which is the worst mistake in the world. I started having like terrible panic attacks. anxiety, all this stuff. I didn't know what it was until I stopped drinking the coffee. It was the fucking coffee. That shit, oh my God. Same with nicotine. Yo, all these people smoke. They went from alcohol to cigarettes and coffee. If anyone, that's kind of ironic, but yeah, they went from alcohol to cigarettes and coffee. Even nicotine. So all my old friends that used to vape, and this was maybe like 2 years ago, one of them was like, I was hanging out with one of them, and they're like, oh, bro, come on, you just gotta try it once, bro. You just gotta try it. And I'm like, all right, fine, fuck it. We were outside, and, I did it. I took a hit of the fucking vape, and immediately I felt nauseous. I threw up. I felt so dizzy. I felt like I was dying. It was the worst feeling. And you want to know what this fucking dude says? He goes, oh, you just got to get used to that feeling, and then it'll be good. You just got to get used to it. It's like, why would I want to get used to this? Same thing with coffee. Like, I'd say coffee is no better than alcohol. Because, like, if you've ever seen people who, like, they drink coffee all the time and they go a day without their coffee, they just freak out. They're like, where's my coffee? I need my coffee. It's like, all this shit ain't good for you, man. Like, it really isn't. But yeah, after that dude talked to me, the meeting started. Honestly, what really surprised me about this shit is that I was expecting people to say, oh, because this is like what you would regularly hear. This is what I heard the first one. Oh, had a traumatic childhood, XYZ happened, or someone in my family died, and I got divorced and this happened. But what I was hearing from this shit is these people were saying, oh, when I was young, I was partying, I was drinking every day, I was out there partying. I didn't think it was a problem until I got older. Now, this is fucking so interesting to me because that just shows how brutal the age pill is. So these people, and you even notice this now, why young people don't go to AA, is because it's not a problem when you're young. Nothing's really a problem when you're young, because you're in your prime. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You ain't ever getting these opportunities ever again. Ever again. No fucking way. The most you're gonna have when you're older is probably a shitty diaper in a nursing home. And these kids are thinking, like, I don't want that shit now. Let me party. Let's live it up, yeah. Because I've seen people in college fucking drinking all day, every day, partying, and it's not seen as a problem, even though I guess it technically is, right? If you're drinking all day, or like every night at a party, getting blackout drunk every night partying. But it's interesting because this is what these people said as how it started. They were partying so much and drinking all the time to when they got to the point to mature and become, I guess, adults instead of, kids, hooking up with whatever guys, girls, whatever the fuck they were saying, partying. Instead of doing that shit, they had to get jobs and they still kept drinking. It's just, I don't know, just like, it was interesting. It's just a brutal age pill right there. So yeah, it only becomes a problem after college, I guess. Because when you're young, I guess you have your prime and all that shit. But yeah, I don't know, I just thought that was interesting. But anyway, during that, mainly like people at this shit, they didn't really like have any stories. They just tried to like confuse the fuck out of you, because I actually was going crazy for a second. I was thinking to myself, like, holy shit, like, am I actually an alcoholic, or did I just have like a few bad times of drinking? And it actually made me like question myself and almost made me confused like these fucking South Park adults. And I was like, no, there's no way. Because these people were saying I was outside the liquor store at 9 o'clock in the morning and shaking and all that shit. Oh, I was, and they were talking about how to like get over withdrawals, how their withdrawal stories, and I just couldn't relate. I was like, yeah, this shit, like, no, like this ain't me at all. There's this one guy too, he was missing his leg, like up to his kneecap, like it was amputated. He was in a wheelchair. This dude, he looked like Russman from the Black Ops 2 zombies, and he kind of sounded like him too. He was originally from Alabama, and he was like telling us part of his story, and I thought this guy was gonna say how, because I was thinking he was a fucking war vet. I was thinking he was gonna say some shit like, oh, I was in Iraq, or no, he wouldn't be in Iraq. He's a boomer. He would probably be in like Vietnam. He would say like, oh, I was in Vietnam and a child soldier threw a grenade and blew my fucking leg off, and now I drink because I got the PTSD. I thought he was going to say some shit like that, but you want what came out this fucking guy's mouth? He goes, I was drinking so much and my diet was so shit that they had to amputate my leg because I got diabetes. And honestly, I was a little excited because that meant that the alcohol could get to my brain faster. And I was like, no fucking way. This dude he said he was generally excited that his leg got amputated because that meant that the alcohol could go to his brain faster. I was like, that shit fucking, I was like, dude, there's no way. I was like, there's no fucking way. Because it just blew my mind. Oh yeah, there's this other douchebag who goes, oh, weed, cigarettes, and coffee help my sobriety. And I chuckled. I thought that was funny because you're smoking weed and all this shit. You're not sober. So I was like, tuh. And the second he said that and I laughed, they all fucking turned their heads and looked at me. I was like, fuck. And it was just like all a bunch of gaslight. Like, I don't really know how to like describe it, but like, these people, they're so fake. Like, they make it seem like they're so much better than you. And I think I know why. It's because no one's gonna ever question that shit because it's seen as quote unquote good, you know, because same thing with the church. You're not gonna go, oh, this shit's stupid, because I think like the average person, if something is good and you criticize it, they're gonna be like, you're mean because good is good and that's good, and you're being mean, so that's mean. Like, this is how the average person thinks. Like, no one's gonna go in there and be like, yo, this shit's stupid. So it gives these people the power to be like, yeah, we're better than you and we know everything. But yeah, like, it's just the thing too, you have to admit you're an alcoholic. You have to be like, oh, you have to say your name and be like, I'm an alcoholic, you know, even if you're not. It's literally like that one South Park episode. I was telling my dad this shit that I'm telling you guys about this fucking stupid meeting. My dad's like, you ever seen that South Park episode where Randy goes to the AA meeting? I'm like, no. He's like, it's literally like almost what you're saying. He's like, they do like the same shit. And I'm like, no way. So I watched it and I was fucking dying. see how they like, guys, that episode, it's fucking gold, man. Like, they confuse the fuck out of him. He basically goes, he's like, oh, I just got a DUI and I'm not really an alcoholic. I had a DUI and I was forced to come here. And then the guy goes, you have a disease. And he's like, I do? And then, you know, he shaves his head. He goes into the wheelchair. Stan, Daddy needs another beer. I have a disease. Like, they just confuse the fuck out of you at these fucking places, man. It's just like, please don't let boomers confuse you to fucking death. But yeah, the whole thing, man, just like these people, it's just, and that near the end, and this shit was so bizarre to me too. This dude, I want to say like same thing, like maybe his 60s, gray hair, you know, really, really thinning hairline, goatee, recessed chin, obviously compensating with the fucking goatee, sort of like a long, like oblong sort of face, negative canthal tilt. He was wearing glasses, and he was telling me, and this is the thing too, like, I just smelled shit. And this is, like, I've said this too before, but, like, I would say, like, the average person, like, maybe 90% of people, their breaths just smell like shit for some fucking reason. I don't know what it is, like, it's the processed food or whatever the fuck, but, like, people's breaths just smell like shit. And, yeah, he was trying to tell me, I wasn't really even paying much attention to what this guy was really saying, because I was just like, what is that fucking shit smell? I was like, he was saying like, oh, it's good that you're admitting to your disease now early on in the early stages. And I honestly wanted to tell him, I'm like, dude, you're out here doing this stupid cope shit while your wife is at home getting gangbanged. Like, you're just like a fucking idiot, dude. But yeah, I just kept smelling shit. And I'm like, what is that? I couldn't have been his breath because it smelled too close to shit. And, like, as I'm, like, trying to investigate, like, what the fuck this is, I look down at his fucking fingers, and this dude, I swear on my fucking life, this dude has poop under his fucking fingernails, under his, like, index finger and his middle finger. And I was just looking at it, I'm like, is this guy for fucking real? Like, the poop was, like, on his cuticles, too. I don't know if it was chocolate or whatever the fuck, but, like, like, I don't know what to make of that shit. Like, it had to have been poop, because, like, what the fuck else was it? I had this shit-fingered boomer telling me I'm fucking crazy and have a disease, that I need help. Like, this is the people that are trying to gaslight you into the fucking astral realm, guys. This shit-fingered boomer. But yeah, what a weirdo, dude. Like, I was like, dude, like, get the fuck away from me, man. I'm just, like, thinking that, like, get the fuck away from me, like, fucking weirdo. But, you know, during the end of the meeting, that was during the end, and they all huddled around me. Let me sponsor you! Sponsor, sobriety! Oh, sponsor sobriety! And I'm like, no, I'm good. And I just walked out, and when I got back to the car, my mom was fucking pissed. She's like, you were supposed to get a sponsor. You were supposed to get someone to talk to. Why don't you have anyone to talk to? And I told her, I'm like, listen, this was the stupidest shit I've ever fucking done in my fucking life. It served no help to me. I mean, honestly, after seeing that dude in the wheelchair, the shit-fingered coper, and the pot-bellied Italian dude, I don't think I'm ever going to pick up another drink in my fucking life, I'm going to be honest. But I guess it kind of worked. But fuck, man. She got all pissed off. You want to know what she says to me? She goes, she's like, oh, that wasn't the right group for you. And I'm like, no fucking way. Here we go again. Because first off, it's always the same shit with my mom. That wasn't the right therapist for you. And again, she's just trying to find some person, this one person who's going to spit some crazy line that's going to fucking inspire me to change my life or do some bullshit that I already haven't fucking done. It's just not going to happen. The only person that's ever going to do anything in my life is me. Like, why the fuck do I need some boomer or some person to tell me how to run my life? It doesn't make sense. If I've been through so many fucking therapists and all this bullshit, even doing this cope AA shit for no fucking reason, because, you know, my mom's out of options and trying to quote-unquote fix me and shit, whatever the fuck that means. Oh, we'll find another one. If that, she genuinely believes in the fucking 10,000 approach fucking method that, oh, the first 1,000 approaches are just warm-ups and the first 10,000 that you're almost there. It's like, it'll drive you fucking nuts to a degree. Like, you can't just fucking do the same shit over and over again. That's literally the definition of insanity. And this is what my mom truly believes in. Like, there's some crazy therapist out there that's going to say something that'll change me. And, but yeah, that's a pretty long video, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much it.